tweet from Orenstein on wheat production across Africa got a lot of attention in recent days. The tweet said, let's talk, lots of talk recently about reducing African countries' reliance on Russian wheat, but a few places in Africa have a climate suitable for wheat crops. Self-sufficiency is something that's not there. Now let's take a closer look at the map in another image here. You'll see that there it is. So the only spots displaying a conducive area for wheat growth are in southern Africa and eastern Africa, the shades of red there on your screen. Now, in another tweet, he did get some pushback. And so here he is clarifying. He says, as someone pointed out, this doesn't include irrigated wheat. So he says it's worth mentioning that this is only applicable to rain-fed wheat. So we gotta make some sense of all this. Joining us to discuss further from the UK is Dulo Wegner. He's an agriculture and renewable energy economist. Dulo, good morning to you. Good to have you again. Great to see you. Same here. Happy New Year. So this map, it's caused some discussion on Twitter. What do you make of it as far as the growth? As far as the growth of wheat, not this map, let's do the next map with the Africa, with the wheat production. What do you make of that?
Yeah, when I actually saw the map, the first point I actually looked at was how the data was gotten. And that is very, very important in order to efficiently analyze our outcome. And the person that actually posted it was Alex, and it's quite concrete. However, he didn't capture the irrigated wheat production or wheat growth. He only captured for rain-fed production, which means the data is the analysis is concrete, but the result is does not encompass both irrigated and rain-fed.
Great stuff. So as far as that conversation is concerned, if we're to include irrigated and irrigated wheat, then that map would be more populated, right?
Yes, definitely to be more populated. Countries like Ethiopia will be captured. Countries like from the northeast, Egypt, although they import a lot, but they also invest heavily in wheat production. Countries like Morocco will also be captured in that production. Mali as well also be captured in that production.
Fantastic. So let's talk. What are the challenges? What challenges does the African continent face with growing wheat?
Yeah, wheat actually is a climate-based crop that it actually depends on the climate for its productivity. So, looking at the equator, these countries that actually have the high level of production, that is when you talk of Russia, the Ukraine, they fall between the 40 to the 60 north and south in the equator, which is they are in a very temperate region, rain constantly falling, the snow, and again the variety they plant is also a major contributor to the amount or the quantity of wheat this country push out. So these are basic. Number one is climate. The second one is enhancing farmers to better equip themselves when it comes to production of wheat.
Excellent. So those are the two things. So I think well, climate is climate, so you can't change that. But the second part of your point, as far as I ask you what we need to grow more wheat here, so it's to focus on the farmers.
Yes, definitely. They are our players. It's like a football game. You have to feed in your players to actually get the necessary results which you inquire, which you anticipate. So equipping our farmers is basically our starting point. How these farmers access loans and finances. Are these farmers educated? Do they know the right variety to plant? So these are various factors we need to consider whenever we are equipping our farmers. They need to know the necessary steps to take.
I like the analogy, because the football analogy, because as you know, I mean, are you watching the football match later today? We're playing Ghana later this afternoon in Abuja. So I like the analogy. Has the Ukraine situation made things worse?
Definitely. The Ukraine, they are one of the major exporters of wheat. Looking at their population, considering the population, Ukraine is about 40 to 45 million, and compared to the metric tons they produce each year, is definitely going to hamper on those countries that depend on them to get wheat. And most African countries, even like Nigeria, imports wheat from Russia and Ukraine, and some other countries too, Morocco, Egypt. Egypt imports from Russia and Ukraine as well. So this war definitely is going to affect the importation, production. Farmers are scared over there. Nobody wants to go to farm and all those stuff. And Ukraine is going to use what they produce to feed their population now in times like this. So instead of exporting, they are definitely going to keep it back to themselves.
What do you make of mechanized farming efforts across Africa?
Is mechanized farming okay? Let me use Nigeria as an instance. We how many farmers can afford a tractor? That is one. How many farmers are educated enough to venture into new technologies, new skills, developing themselves? How many farmers can? A lot of things, a lot of enhancement and research are actually going in place. And Africa definitely, I won't use the word we are coming, we are definitely coming, and we'll get there. But this equipment that needs heavy production, this equipment that needs heavy harvest, Africa is far behind, and we really need to catch up. Mechanized farming in Nigeria, in Africa generally, is we need to catch up. We really need to catch up.
All right, now so much of African farming, even here in Nigeria, depends on, well, let me speak specifically for Nigeria, subsistence farming, right? How do we elevate farmers to the next level from the subsistence level? How do we improve things for them?
First and foremost, we need to finance. We need to provide finance subsidy. We need to, even when we provide finance, we need to subsidize stuffs for them. We need to subsidize machineries for them, seedlings. There are new technologies, vertical farming, where seedlings can grow in a couple of weeks. We need to adopt some of these systems. We need to provide education, the necessary information these farmers need. They definitely need our help. Some of them are in the remote areas. There is no access to them. Some of them are not educated. Most of our farmers don't have access to finance. Most of them don't have access to finance. And when I'm telling you they don't have access to finance, I'm definitely sure of what I'm trying to say, because the resources, that takes me back to the Anchor program. How many farmers are accessing those loans? How many farmers have access to those resources? Or is it given to my brother? Is it given to my sister? We actually need to balance things up and know how to tackle the issue.
Okay, so in fact, that you've prompted my next question, because I was going to ask you about the Anchor Borrowers Program. Central Bank Governor Gordon Mefele revealing, I think, 948 billion or so to 4.4 million farmers across Africa. So that's the direction we need to go, yeah? What the Anchor Borrowers Program is trying to do.
Yeah, definitely nice initiative, but the results so far, I'm not too comfortable with it. The result so far has not yielded what I expected it to yield. The United States as a whole, I don't even think their farmers are up to 4 points of, let's say, roughly 5 million. Whereas in Nigeria, we're financing about 4.8 million farmers using the Anchor program. Yet, production is still not meeting the target. That means something is wrong. We're actually not doing the right thing. And what is the right thing? Ensuring these finances get to the appropriate hands that needs it. I don't know who is doing the audit for the central bank. I don't know how they do their checks and balance. But we really need to look into how these farmers accessing this finance. That's the question we need to ask. Checks and balance just drawn for us.
Well, point well made. Well, look, there's been a whole lot of talk about what insecurity, how it's been impacting farmers in Nigeria, them not being able to access farms. I remember the central bank governor, when the pyramids were unveiled in Abuja, rice pyramids, he made a point to thank the farmers for their sacrifices that they had made in risking their lives in trying to, feed themselves. So we just had the big news of this Abuja Kaduna train that was blown up by terrorists. There was the Kaduna airport that was attacked days before that. So, I mean, surely insecurity, I guess, which is, that's outside the central bank's purview. That's more on the federal government side. We have to, you're in the UK, but you're hearing this news of these insecurity and these terrorist attacks here, yes?
Yeah, definitely. I even got to hear of one this morning. It was touchy. It was touchy about the train that was attacked by bandits. Aside that, I actually saw a tweet. A tweet was put out that the pyramid of rice. Who checked the pyramid? The pyramid, was it a bag of sand? Who heaped them? How did this? A lot of questions. I'm not trying to discredit anybody, but a lot of questions a lot of questions have been flying around via social media as well. This pyramid actually looked awesome, and we are hungry. A lot of people can't even get a cup of rice to eat, and we have a pyramid like this. Wow. So we need to assess ourselves. Are we telling ourselves the truth? That pyramid can feed Nigeria. If truly that pyramid is pyramid, it can actually go a long way. Now back to wheat. Nigeria, our production, I'm not even sure if it's up to 50,000 or 60,000 tons per year, whereas countries like Ethiopia are counting like 1 point something million. These are an African counterpart. So we need to help farmers. We need to provide seedlings. We need to give them the appropriate education, the required finance, subsidize machines to them, because agriculture is revolving. The way we plant in 1960 can't be the way we plant for the same production.
Dulo, I'm glad you mentioned evolving. We've only got a minute left. I have to ask you about renewable energy. Because you're a renewable energy economist as well as an agri person. What's the impact there? Quickly, in less than a minute, if you can.
Yeah, the renewable energy, way forward, enhancing agriculture, byproducts, in getting bioenergy. We can produce ethanol, methanol, a lot of stuffs, and at the same time get energy, which is one aspect Nigeria is actually, our grid keeps collapsing every day. Probably when we get what we really need in agriculture, then those byproducts can be channeled into something very, very tangible and reasonable. And renewable energy is the way. Our climate is something we need to consider. Climate change is something we really need to look into, because it's terrifying. It's terrifying. Using some data and analysis is mind-blowing. So renewable energy is a way, and we need to really look into it.
Excellent stuff.
I'm happy something like this is coming up, and definitely I believe my dear country, my precious country, will be key into it.
Dulo Wegner, agriculture and renewable energy economist, had you in the studio last time in Lagos. Now you're in the UK. Great to talk to you again. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
All right.